This video is sponsored by the Robot Scrapyard. And by that I mean I bought this toy from the Robot Scrapyard. So should you. All right. It's time to dip our toe into Legacy. We're starting with arguably one of the better deluxes, Autobot Skids. And what do we think of the new box? I quite like it. We got no plastic. We got very nice action shots of Skids. A cool car shot of Skids. This very nice purple color. The Legacy logo feels a bit Master of the Universe to me. Bit overblown, but you know, it's finally not called Generations. Actually, it is. Right there. But we are out officially of the War for Cybertron trilogy. So we can finally have new names. And there's this really nice shot of like Bulkhead, Blaster, RC, Hot Rod for some reason with a sword, and obviously Optimus Prime is looking over everything. Hey, there's Earth. There's Cybertron, possibly. And you get your standard toy photos on the back. So I am glad that they went with Autobot Skids, because apparently Skids is a hard word to trademark. It's better than the alternatives like Skid Mark, Skid Blast, your underwear drawer. Anyway, before we talk about the new toy, we will go back to my first Skids. I don't think you want to see that. The Thrilling 30, who, frankly, I knew nothing about Skids at the time. He was just a cool toy on the shelf. And so many years later, do I even know any more about him? He's a character where the more you know, the less you realize you know, because he barely ever does anything. And apparently this guy was based off the IDW comic book Skids. I didn't know that, and I've never read the main IDW comic books. The only Transformers comic books I've read are the Beast Wars, because Beast Wars. So for apparently a lot of people, this guy didn't really satisfy, not just from a physical perspective, because he has quite a few awkward things about him, but from the fact that this isn't the Skids people wanted. To a lot of people, this wasn't their Skids. And how many times can I make a joke that I don't want to send this review into the toilet, although that might be where this figure should go. Anyway, brand new Legacy Skids. This is your grandfather's Skids. These are his tighty whities that are no longer tight or white. But thankfully, this toy is not shit. It is actually quite good. And it is modeled heavily off the 80s cartoon model for Skids. So, apparently, Skids was a theoretician in the original cartoon. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Does he just study theories? Is his job theoretical, as in it's a vainly veiled... What word am I looking for? Faintly veiled BS character descriptor? Possibly. But apparently he is one. Does he study theoretical physics? I don't know. He's only in like 2 episodes of the cartoon and then he's dead. He barely ever does anything outside of, hilariously, the IDW comics, where apparently he got to do the most before he died. I don't like the angle of this. But the new toy. Let's take a look at the head sculpt. I like it. It's a shame about the excess kibble on the back of his head, but it doesn't bug me a whole heck of a lot. It doesn't interfere with anything. It doesn't interfere with the ball joint at the head, but we'll get to that when we get to that. It's a nice helmet. Nice dreamy light blue eyes. Although, I'm not sure about the expression. It's either emotionless or just kind of annoyed, which doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it would fit the character in my head. Anyway, what do I know? What else? He is quite wide. I know I mentioned something like that back in my November video when I talked about the legacy leaks. And this guy, he is quite a wide profile with the door wings and the very wide chest. It makes his arms, while they aren't actually disproportionate, they're quite, like, they almost go to his knees. They look a lot more disproportionate than they actually are. Just because he's got, like, I don't know if he's got body dysmorphia issues, but good. They're there, Skids. Everybody's necessary. Although, apparently Hasbro, you aren't. Because we barely had any toys of Skids over the years. There was the Masterpiece recently, which I've heard is very good. I don't collect Masterpieces. There was the Thrilling 30. And that was about it this side of 2010. Or this side of the Binotech alternator Skids. You know, I'm ignoring a very obvious thing because I'm glad this guy isn't a racist. We're going to ignore movie Skids because this guy is not movie Skids, and thankfully nobody should ever be movie Skids. But let's continue. I do like the fact that he's got that classic Autobot chest hood. It looks cool. Very nice Autobot insignia. Although, is it very nice? I'm not sure. And also, this was completely unintentional. You say I've tried to film this review multiple times and always ended up wearing a blue shirt. But we do have the classic Skids red Speedo? Red penis? He's got a red crotch and giant red clown shoes. With his wheels low enough to the ground that he can roll. So if he wants to be lazy, just roll around. His shins are made up of quite a huge chunk of the car, which is Autobot standard. Looks very good here. And the plastic is definitely up to par, at least the current par of the War for Cybertron trilogy. Very solid, not rattly at all, unlike Mr. Floppy ball joint over here. He is not moving unless you want him to. Speaking of, you do get that aforementioned ball joint at the head. Every ball joint can be a rip off of Jobby the Hong or a swivel. He has very, very nice range. The shoulders, kind of crazy. Like forward motion, normal. They can go all the way around. You can even get the door wings out of the way if you want a full 360-degree motion. The crazy part comes from the outward swivel. You've got multiple joints giving you just so much posability in the shoulder. Like, you've got one joint here, and then you've got this weird looking joint, which if you go beyond just horizontal, it kind of looks like he's breaking his own shoulder. But sometimes you just really got to reach over there. I don't know what he's doing, but it definitely looks painful. You do get a bicep swivel and a 90-degree elbow with a quite tight wrist swivel. And you do get a backpack joint if you want a more G1 standard, like sticking all out the way, or a little bit of a cleaner profile. It all depends on you. You do get a waist swivel. If you want, you can use a transformation joint and get a bend, which doesn't look horrible. You know, first playing with them, I didn't even realize that was a point of transformation. I thought it was honestly a point of articulation, but it does lock in, hard lock, so that makes sense that it's for a transformation. But, you know, if you want him to do the limbo, he can limbo. And any good transformer should be able to limbo. Hips, go forward and back. Beautiful spread. Come on. Beautiful spread. You got an ankle pivot, which, given the placement of his wheels, you can go, wee, look at his crotch. He'll attack you like Die Hard. You do get thigh swivel here. A very nice 90-degree knee bend. And yep, the aforementioned ankle pivot. So articulation-wise, he is very good. You just kind of have to be okay with moving the arms in a way that doesn't necessarily look good, but it's much more function over style. And, well, that's basically it for the robot mode. Here's your size comparison. They're close to the same height, although this one feels infinitely better. I don't know. I'm gonna put this guy in the willing to sell box because I have no attachment to IDW outside of Beast Wars. But we do have weapons we can style accessorize him with. First up, you've got his classic nitrogen gun. Apparently he does fire liquid nitrogen with this gun. Yeah, nicely coated in silver with a few ports for accessorizing. You can plug in his hand, and it does look suitably oversized. Almost every other version of this, I see the main body of the gun is blue, especially on the Masterpiece. So, yeah, it looks honestly fairly ridiculous just by itself. But you also get a double-barreled blaster, which is purpose Electro Blaster, I think. I looked it up and I kind of forgot. But you can plug that into his hand. And it does look quite good just by itself. Or I'm gonna give a warning. I've seen multiple people talk about the classic G1 Skids does feature a port right there, as this toy does. This one features them on the feet as well. However, everyone I've seen, or at least the one I've seen, do not plug this gun completely into the port. As I don't know, I can't remember the tweet I saw it, but it does have a tendency to snap off in there. So if you're being G1 toy faithful, just kind of like just don't go all the way in. which is also what I think she said. Hey, and you can plug the other gun, which has no problems and will not snap off in his forearm. You can plug that in there too. So there you get full-on nerdy toy accuracy. And that would be enough. But it's not all he comes with, because he has a translucent weapon. And this, along with his translucent back panel and translucent door wings, frightens me a little, because it's translucent plastic. I bring up Studio Series Jazz for one specific reason. Translucent plastic. I think I'm on the lucky side, mostly because I rarely ever play with this Jazz, because I'm much more of a hip-hop kind of guy. Jazz normally isn't my thing. But I've seen a lot of horror stories of the back disintegrating. I don't know if it's the same problem on the Golden Disc Series Jackpot, because that guy also has translucent plastic for the same pieces, but that's the one thing that's preventing me from getting that mold again, is the worry about the backpack disintegrating. So I don't know how these will fare. The weapon definitely gives me Energon or Power Links vibes with the translucent combining weapons. This is it feels like a hard plastic, not bendy, so I hope it can survive, but I have no idea. I've only had this toy for less than a week. But you do have some nice functionality with this toy. First off, I'm going to mention the one that people tend to mention that's not in the instructions. Where are my instructions? These instructions is the fact that he can wield it as an axe, which is very cool. I like characters that have both ranged and melee capabilities, because not every fight's going to take place at blaster range. Like, you could be fighting with a gun and suddenly the person's right in close to you and you can't fire a shot, so you kind of need a melee option. I like that. And any of the guns can store on his back, if you so choose. But he can also wield it as a gun, either pegged into his forearm, which kind of almost tries to look like it's transforming out of his arm, or I can drop him because I'm a klutz. I'm glad I didn't drop the weapon. Or you can plug it into his hand. That's very cool, but there's even more. Just as Billy Mays used to say. But wait, there's more. I'm not done yet. You can plug a gun into each side of the translucent weapon to get this version of an ultimate weapon. That's not my favorite configuration for them. But damn, that's a lot of barrels pointing at you. So my favorite configuration is the one they show on the box. So you take this gun, and you see that port below it. You plug the double-barreled blaster in there, and you have a much better looking, more proportionate triple-barreled gun. You can use that if you want. Or you plug this in the top port, and you have a super weapon. It's either this I put in his hand as like a, just that looks awesome, or I'll give him the axe and the double gun, because, as I said, melee combat is very nice to have. Just like in most fighting systems, a grappling, let's pretend the gun is your striking martial art, and the axe is your grappling martial art. You kick or punch from far away, but when they get in close, you hack them to pieces. Or, if you're not a psychopath, you choke them to sleep. That doesn't sound like less of a psychopath. Anyway, you also have ports I completely forgot about on these bits of his legs, so he can shoot from below the knee. Anyway, we're going to transform this guy now. Robot mode is very solid. Makes me very happy. He is very basic, especially for the fact that we live in a time of our Lord and we live in the year 2022. But he is very satisfying, more than satisfying. We're not done yet because we have the car mode, and that means I gotta transform this guy. I'll be right back. Did I forget to show that his hip can go back that far? Anyway, to transform your skids, you buy an industrial washing machine and as much soap as you can get, and just hope that one day you can forget about all those stains. Or you could burn them. But to transform this guy, it's pretty cool. We can start by popping open the torso. And then you want to take this joint and hinge it back. This really doesn't matter what order you do it in. It's kind of a forgiving transformation. But fold the arm, rotate so the wheel is on the outside, rotate the bicep. If I'm doing that wrong, I forget. Just going off. Looked at the instructions once, but get the other arm in place. And then you want to collapse. Oh, right. Fold those pieces down. Collapse his shins. And you want to basically stick his crotch all the way like that. I completely fold the arms down. You want them below. Like that. And then finish that. And you want to tab in the roof and the side doors. Make sure everything's nice and tight. And there you have a quite easy, quick and fun little transformation. And we have Skids in an approximation of his classic alt mode, a Honda City Turbo. Very, very nice, very compact. I like that transformation quite a bit. He folds into himself and just tucks away. Although he has started a trend for this series of reviews: awkward head placement in vehicle mode. It's right there. You can't do anything about it. It forms an integral part of the vehicle mode. Nothing can be done. That's awkward. But yeah. I quite like this ho-hum little van man. Is a Honda City Turbo a van? I don't know if it's like SUV that kind of classification. But it's nice and compact. For a comparison, here he is with the, let me take the guns off, with the Thrilling 30 sort of hatchback take on him. They're both nice. I kind of like what this thing did, but it is nice to have this kind of little car in my life. It rolls fairly decently. The back wheels roll better than the front ones because the front ones are sliced vertically, proper gangster rims, which I didn't realize was a thing, but I've seen the last time I saw it was on the Thrilling 30 Trail Cutter and Hoist, which I don't even think I mentioned that in their reviews. I don't remember. That was a long time ago. Missed out on a slight opportunity to have the weapon ports be the petrol caps, but oh well. And there is some nice detailing to get over the red and silver stripe and the door handle. That's a nice little touch. Besides that, nothing. Mostly things just get hidden away. Like there's no new detail to be revealed, which you kind of expect when you're going from robot to alt mode. We do have the same weapon ports, so we can plug the big ass gun on top and ruin that whole robots in disguise thing. Or you can let's plug the blue one in front and ruin your vision while trying to drive them. And we can plug a gun into each of the side ports. And there you go, you got a fully weaponized little vehicle. I'm just going to go with van. I don't know what classification a Honda City Turbo is, but we'll just say van. So that is everything for Skids. You could complain. He's got a sunroof. It does not. It's a sunroof. Nice. There's unfortunately no paint on the back. There's just a lot of the molded in detail with the license plate and the tail lights and all that. Unfortunately, would have liked maybe a couple paint apps to touch that up, especially because there's implied window right there. But, you know, they did all that they could with their budget. They had to get all of this because you can kind of see, I think it's actually red plastic underneath, and they had to get so many paint apps to make the grill work. So, I like the fact that he is a basic sort of throwback to the Chug era car figures. He's just straightforward, no nonsense, just a very nice car former with modern posability and some nice weapon options. And if that tickles your fancy, then he is quite solid and good at what he does. So, yeah, that's it for Skids. Can you even see him? What now for this mold? I could see the Diaclone version as a Generation Selects or Legacy Selects. So Legacies. It didn't work. Damn it. I don't know. I'm happy Skids has a new toy. He also has a nice masterpiece that if you don't, or if you want this, but a little bit more, there's the masterpiece version. He does, I guess you could say, part of the transformation have an opening door feature, but there's no seat for a bullshit unnecessary minifigure. Not much else I can say about yon shit stains over here. I like him quite a bit. He is definitely replacing this guy. So, thank you for watching. Until next time. I want to make another joke, but I got shit for brains. Keep it weird. Bye-bye.